were of course joined by Strangely Entertaining and Bow Before Zog for one of the cornerstones of magical girl anime. This week we're talking about Revolutionary Girl Utena. Gentlemen, how are you?
Revolutionized.
I am confused.
Fair.
Yeah, I can't say I'm much better. This was a bit of a trip.
This was an acid trip.
This was... Did you want symbolism with your symbolism on top of your symbolism?
Although,
Yeah.
to be fair with this one, it was before everybody was trying to do symbolism.
This is a perfect example where the 90s are not okay. This came out in 97. There were 3 years from Y2K. Like, Japan was going through a lot. The West was going through a lot. Everybody was going through it. Like, Evangelion had just premiered. Like, no one was okay.
I was going to say, this was a very 90s, not only because of the symbolism, the style as well as the dub itself. That was fun. I watched the dub.
This is like reminiscence for me personally. 90s has the best style, or not the best. Excuse me, not the best, but per se, my favorite style of anime is the 90s style. Like, I love the new, clean, crisp stuff. Don't get me wrong. Studio Bones, Ufotable, yes, but like the 90s just has a spot in my heart that nothing else can take. With the the Yu Yu Hakusho. I know it was technically in the 80s. Don't come for me, people out there. But the Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah, but I mean,
Sure the anime was. The
it
manga
was,
earlier.
but like people say it belongs to the 80s. And yes. So anyway, we're all on the same page here. But like the Samurai X, the things that like have that polished style. Like I really rock with this animation type style. Like it's clean, and they had the best waifus in this art style.
And the biggest thing is, like, in this kind of incredibly late 90s time period, this is where we have built on the foundation of every single anime and animation technique that has come before us. This is damn near the pinnacle of cell-based, hand-drawn animation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the time period for it, because after this we get into the age of computers and computer-based animation that makes it so less time-consuming and arduous.
Yeah.
And the look changes with that.
And they basically had to relearn all the tricks of the trade.
Yeah, and some were lost to time. And this time period is really the pinnacle. There's a reason it has the look and the quality it does, is because everything that has come before it. And no, absolutely. The late 90s animation style is
Undefeated, in my opinion.
a thing to behold, yes.
It is.
So
It's quite...
we're talking about Revolutionary Girl Utena, a shoujo with ooky spooky conspiracy plots and world
Let's see.
domination.
Hold on. What doesn't this show have? It has... let's start the list here. It has love triangles, or like quadrangles, or whatever other shape.
Love or Stockholm triangle.
Love,
It's got
Stockholm
okay.
Syndrome.
It's got enough like love
Magical
quartets.
Girls.
It's got enough love quartets that puts Miraculous Ladybug to shame.
It's got incest for some reason. It's got
Japan ain't okay.
Japan's not okay. It's got your lesbians. It's got your binary people. It's
got practically
literally
every fetish
everything.
you can think of.
No, there's one thing missing.
Oh no! It even has necrophilia in it. I'm not
That's
even joking.
not what I was.
No,
that's
not
not what I
joking.
was gonna say.
Okay, it's missing bestiality, but whatever.
It is
That's
missing.
again. That's not what I was gonna say.
We're not missing it. Thank goodness
What-
it's not here.
What I was gonna
Can only
say
have
was.
so much. Go
Well, I was
ahead.
gonna say there is no mecha in this, so we're good there.
Well,
I mean,
No.
I saw a girl turn into a car. So
Yeah.
But that was not in this one though. That was in the movie. In the movie, she turned into the car. And
Same
technically, that was like a bio weapon. It was like a bio Broly car. It wasn't really a mechanized car. So I'm claiming it. No
Biomech.
mechs.
It's a thing. Biomechs are a thing.
It was not a mech because
Biomechs.
there was no catalytic converter. They were straight like there was a frame and then their bodies decomposed into the car. So
Via car wash.
not a mech.
It's via car wash.
You can go with that all you want.
I'm gonna die on this hill.
I'll
right.
be on the hill with you.
Thematically,
Fine, there was no tournament. Wait, there was a tournament arc. Fuck. Okay.
The whole
it was
thing is a
one
tournament
big
arc.
tournament.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, one big
Yeah, no,
tournament.
that's I was like.
All right. So what the fuck is this show about? All right, let's get
Abuse, domestic abuse,
So,
lots
no,
of domestic
no,
abuse.
no.
Let's talk. Oh, hold on.
I
Hold
mean,
on.
yes.
Let's talk.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
actually.
but we'll get to it. All right. Show. We have a girl who went through a tragic time in her childhood. Parents died. And she met a prince who was like, oh my gosh, you're so noble. I'll give you this ring. Don't die in a coffin.
Grooming.
Fucking hell.
I mean,
You're not
okay.
wrong.
You're not
but
wrong.
And come be noble later. And she's so inspired that she doesn't want to be a princess. She wants to be a prince just like him. And then we wind up in middle school. And all right, spoiler alert, two things.
I
One.
hate that.
One, we're going to spoil the shit out of this.
Yes.
Oh.
Utena, as a magical girl anime, one of the cornerstones of the genre. Go watch it. 100% worth your magical girl time if you're
Solid.
into that jam. And two, these people are not in middle school. There's no way.
There's no. They're college. They look like college like
fucking
people.
way.
Like there's like, oh, I'm a middle schooler. Like, heck, you
Well,
are.
Like,
That's
it's-
because those are the
it's
high
a-
schoolers. It's
No,
like an
it's-
academy.
Utena. Utena is in middle
Oh,
school.
yeah. And compared to like the high schoolers, like red haired dude and green haired dude, she kind of looks younger. So
Yes, but even,
Ahito is definitely
If she is
Not
younger,
a middle
again,
schooler.
doesn't make anything okay. Especially
Oh,
with
no,
the
I'm not
red-haired
saying it
guy.
does.
Nothing is okay with this.
I'm not saying it does. Sorry, go ahead, Kelz.
no, exactly that. None of this is okay. This is from 1997 in a Japanese sense, like not even to our modern American sense of what is right or wrong for
Nothing
better
is.
or worse.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, this is an insight to this is a really a touch point to really comprehend what is being marketed to this demographic at this time period in this culture. Because it was a bomb ass show, other than the fact that it was like all our characters are in middle school, and
And no one's
And-
okay.
no one's okay in 1997,
No one is okay.
and that we're doing all of the shit we're doing in this show with that kind of age group.
Yeah, and that was.
Gonna be honest, when you describe it like that, it doesn't sound that different from today.
I mean, you're wrong. But like one, so okay. So how I looked at it in more of like an altruistic type way. Because I watched it. Like I said, I had a lot of free time because I was down bad the past 5 days. So I watched it, and I didn't even know I watched it because I was so disoriented on cold medicine. So I rewatched it, and then when I started rewatching it, I'm like, okay, now this makes sense. Like, End of the World is like a pseudonym that's coming to them. Like, this is the actual person. Okay, and he's under this name because he's like the embodiment. He's supposed to be Jesus, technically. Like, he's a metaphor
What?
for Jesus. Yeah, because he took on the people's sins.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And
No.
yes, I feel that's.
No.
He's a fallen. He was supposed to be Jesus, but he fell from grace because his sister. Oh, closed
This
the
is
door.
Japan.
yep.
Fuck
so they,
Jesus. That's
yep.
all I'm saying. Like,
But I feel like that's what he was supposed to represent, though.
No, because this is not quite as much as this wants to be Evangelion. It's not even.
But like that's okay. Then what did he represent?
Even
to you?
Ever was just like, this is just flavor text. We're just stealing these terms.
I don't know what he represented, or the end guy. I mean, we're getting into super heavy spoilers now.
We're jumping like all of.
We're jumping all the way to the.
Okay, sorry. Let's
skipping-
go back. Let's go.
Do you want to
Let's
go
go
back?
back.
Okay.
So I was
okay.
dealing with
Alright.
the themes. That's why I had like said that. But I guess we're still in the synopsis. So
All right, so they
Kind
go
of
to
is.
school and then they wind up having to duel for the Rose Bride. Who the fuck is the Rose Bride? Nobody knows. It's
Yeah.
Bitch
it's
with a sword in her.
it's the person that's gonna like allow them to achieve the revolution. What's
Well,
the revolution? We don't know. But
it
like
involves
we
a
go
lot
on
of
this
slapping.
we go on this adventure to maintain possession of the Rose Bride.
only because Utena gets thrown in this because she's defending her friend whose name I forget because she's like super not that important.
Himemia.
Hemenia,
No. You're talking about the
the
other
one who got her love letter posted.
Oh, you had to keep it moving.
Yeah. Wakaba.
Wakaba.
Wakaba. Yeah.
Wakabe?
So Wakabe, whatever.
I
So
don't know.
like, so Utena is defending Wakaba because Koichi,
She's defending Wakanda. Use that vibranium.
because Claw has posted her letter on the board of like, yo, she wrote this letter. And Utena's like, I gotta defend my friend because, like, I'm technically her boyfriend, but not her boyfriend because I don't identify. And so she goes, to challenge this dude who's on the student council and the kendo captain. And then when she's there, she sees him slapping this girl, and she's like, "Yo, I'm just not okay with this. So like, we gotta square
By
up."
the way, don't play a drinking game. Watch this and be like, I'm going to drink every time this girl gets slapped because you will be drunk. She gets slapped a lot.
That was
Some would
so
say-
hard to watch.
Some
bro.
would say it's the best way to experience this.
I was just out here like, this is hurting me, man. Because like,
I literally
this
said,
much-
I'm like, if this girl gets slapped one more time, I don't want to see this girl gets slapped so much. Why?
I want to make a
Until-
slap count video of this.
He's out here getting slapped until episode like 35, man. It's
Pretty
so
much.
bad.
I just
Technically, she gets slapped when she
literally
leaves.
no.
episode
She
38.
gets slapped by the dudes, specifically the one dude a lot, and then she gets slapped by all the girls at school for some reason, and then it's just
All right. Oh, yes, themes. We finally made it to themes.
abuse.
Yeah.
Yay!
So one of the specific themes that this show really focuses on is bullying, right? Because we see with oh my god.
I would say it's more so abuse than bullying.
I mean,
Or would
we
you say
see-
it's bullying?
we
both.
see
Well,
all
it's both.
I guess abuse is the more accurate term to
I'm-
cover the broad sense of the different facets in which it encounters. Because with her peers, with her schoolmates, it's literal bullying. All of the schoolgirls are out here like, oh, Himemia, how dare you do whatever the fuck you're doing? You're not good enough, and slaps the shit out of her.
And what's bullying except abuse with people you don't see as often?
Yeah. So definitely, abuse is an accurate word to describe all of this behavior because not only does it go into the bullying from her peers, but it also goes into the physical and sexual abuse that goes on from her brother.
Yeah.
He's
Also
a
with the whole
Shinji.
with the whole bullying thing, does that make it racist as well? It's like
Why?
Because
like
she's
the
Indian
only-
and everybody else is
yeah,
Japanese.
she's like the only dark skinned character.
See, I don't remember if they draw specific attention to that. If they did, then
I don't think
probably,
they
yeah.
do,
but
I don't
but
think they do
otherwise-
because they're like
But I don't remember.
obsessed with Otori, who's a bag of shit. I'm really cussing this podcast. I don't wanna cuss this much.
Man,
Probably
fuck it.
medicine. But so like I don't think that is that. I think they are just bullying her to like out of really just like prejudice and insecurities. I mean, most bullies do that in general. I feel like They don't really bully someone because they, you know, don't like them. They bully them because there's something that they have that they want or something that they see, that they can do that they can't. If you bully, you a bitch.
Amen.
Just so you know, if you hear this, I don't mess with you if you do any types of abuse or whatever. But I feel like the bullying was coming from the fact that like she was getting this attention because no one really knew what she did, but she was like loved by the student council, and now like she's got Utena following her, and they love Utena as well. So I feel like that bullying came from like that, not more so of like her skin tone, because I don't think skin tone's even really touched on this.
No, I mean, I'm just saying I don't think
I
it
mean,
helps.
She is she's the Rose Bride. She has that special power and all that.
But no
So
one
go-
knows that except for like 5 people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
very few people can actually use it anyway.
Yeah.
And a lot of the abuse comes directly from Nanami, which is the brother of the sister of the student council president.
She got her own
And-
issues.
Yeah, so a
Sure,
lot of this is
why?
coming from specifically because she's caught the eye of the student council president because he's a duelist. And since we've made it here, before we go on with more thematic stuff, let's talk about the fact that. All right. Evangelion master conspiracy supernatural bullshit. Let's go. All right. So we're looking for the one who will be like lead the revolution, right? So to that we have the rose duels. So we see this in the first episode and
With a
from then
banger OST, by
on-
the way.
Yes, actually. And the whole thing is they're all dueling to be engaged to the Rose Bride, who will then lead them to a revolution after X mini duels. Who knows? And
Yeah.
the student council's being led on this by the mysterious end of the world. So this whole big weird conspiracy, ooky spooky stuff going on behind the scenes. Which is exciting, because a regular school drama would be boring as ever we have seen it. But there's some suspense to it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But like also in terms of Evangelion, I got that like weird like feeling when I was watching this. Like it's like, okay, because not everybody can just do weird shit without making it seem like edgy or try hard. But like Utena did it in like the Evangelion type way, where it's like unsettling instead of like this is just weird stuff happening. Like with the two shadows dancing and narrating things.
Do you?
I was like,
know?
yeah, this is some Evangelion ish right here. Like this is some like weirdness feels like not exactly Evangelion, but it's like in that vein of Evangelion and like kind of like in the vein of like Boogie Pop and Friends,
Yeah.
where it's like stuff is eerie, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like I just gotta use Saw as a reference. Like Saw isn't scary to me because it's like trying to be like scary.
Yeah.
Like and this is like this in Evangelion and Boogie Pop, and I know there's a few in Higurashi. Like they do stuff that doesn't feel like it's try hard mode. It feels like it's like a stroke of like artistry. And that's what Utena has. It has like that weird artistry I would give it that Evangelion has as well. So I felt like that was another comparison. And like I really as weird as this is, I really mess with Utena. I feel like I needed to watch this.
With the tone, yeah, there's definitely this unnerving and unanswered questions that are always just there because we don't get an answer to how, right? We get an answer to why, but we don't ever get an answer to how. How does this kind of arena work? How does all of this power function?
How does
We
the castle
answered-
float in the sky? We don't know.
We get an answer to why.
Why?
Mhm.
But
We
not
get
how.
the whole backstory, but we're not ever told just how this universe functions because it's a basic ass school plus ooky spooky stuff. Which that's the thing I really vibe for because we get story, we get explanation, but there's still some stuff that's just like this is how it is. Don't worry.
You get lore, but no explanation.
Yes.
It's this
Yeah.
way. Why? Because just
'Cause
do
it is.
it.
Because internet.
Oh, okay.
Timmy Turner.
Internet.
If you really want to know, go to the wiki. Oh,
Oh,
wait.
wait.
But
Not even the fans could make a wiki comprehensive enough to deal with this.
But no, I feel like the themes in this were definitely overcoming abuse and you being the only one that can truly break the shackles of abuse.
To
So
break,
can, like,
to
do
break
we
the
want to
shell
wait
of
to
the
talk about?
world.
Yeah. Do we want to like wait to talk about like how it like the thing that happened with the theme or because
Fuck it. Keep on
so
going.
like
Just say words.
okay so like one thing with Altony or he oh my god I watched it dubbed and subbed. I had to transition over, so we're just gonna call her Rose Bride. One thing with the Rose Bride is that she is constantly whatever the groom wants her to be. Like she changes for the person who wins the duel, then thus owns her. So it's like
Man, the first time Utena lost,
yes,
and she
which
hit her with the
miss.
with the Utena san,
Oh,
and you saw the look on Utena's face like,
I'm like,
oh
this
shit.
girl is dirty, bruh. Like, I lost all respect for Anthony on that. I'm like, girl, you were like, oh my god, like you thought Utena was playing her, but she's, ooh, like I was like, okay, wow, like, and then so that's a whole nother thing. I could talk about a whole
It's kinda
podcast
devious.
about that. Yeah, like, and Anthony, she was the Rachel of the series for a little while, man. Like she was playing, because like when it's, I thought she legitimately cared for Utena, but it was like, nah, I just played the part to suit you because I have to be the perfect bride. That's what fucked me up.
And the big thing for me is there was no attachment,
Yes, like
and she
It
just
was literally just, this is my role to play.
I
And
did
then-
what I had to do when I was with you, and now due to the rules of the game, I'm no longer with you.
and like the fact that she just knows, like Kiryu, like she knew exactly the type of person. Like she was, and she smirked at Utena too when she said that. And I'm just like, and then somebody in one of the comments was like, when Anthony like did that to Utena, they're like, I can see why Shionji. I'm like, no, we never say that. I
No.
definitely saw
Yeah.
more.
Fucked up.
I saw more sides to Anthony and sides I didn't like. But we do not say that she deserved what happened to her. But like, I was just very, man, that really took me by surprise. I was like, holy shnipe.
And all I'm saying is, like, at that point in the series, like, they had just been,
Do a lot.
well, no, they had just been, like, acquaintances. Like, sure, they had, gone through however much of this game they had been through.
Yeah.
But they didn't know each other outside of that. Outside of
Yeah.
Utena wanting to defend her, and that's all it being. They kind of talked. They spent time together, but there was no more than that because Himimiya didn't loosen up. Because Himimiya's got this whole other thing going on. Her whole backstory that we don't find out till later in the series.
Yeah,
I
to
was
like
about to
fucking
say-
end. I was like, that's another thing. Like, how did we not know? This show managed to like, you don't know what's going on until like the last 5 episodes. I'm just like, well, okay. Like,
I mean, it's a lot easier to get away with that when they're not trying to explain everything every 5 minutes.
I mean, but trying to stay enthralled through that. Like,
True.
I'm not gonna lie. If this wasn't for a podcast, I probably would have dropped this because the amount of time it took me to understand I was 10 episodes in. I was like, this still makes no fucking sense. And I was like, I'll just wait to episode 15. And I'm like, I'll wait to episode 20. And then I'm like, okay, let me watch a YouTube video to understand. And it was like, they don't know what's going on either. So I'm just like,
I mean,
Well-
watch like 3 or 4 and see what they all have to say.
It definitely-
Everything's different. Oh,
Welcome to magical girl shit.
Yes, no,
Not
I was about to
even.
say, no, this is 90s
No, yeah,
magical
the-
girl storytelling at its finest, where
I mean-
you don't get the modern day 3-episode hook, right? You get the hook at the very end, and that's why, like, now I gotta tell people about it.
You know, at a time when it was just like, what other magical girl shit are you gonna watch? We're the only one on the air.
like, I'm fine with, like, you know, taking time to, like, explain something. But this definitely, I feel like, took too long. But it has an overall positive reception. Like, because I finished it, I can say it's great. But if I, like, just dipped out on episode 15, not knowing what the hell is going on, this is Darling in the Franks to me, you know?
So,
Like,
How dare you?
hold on, would it make you
I'm just
feel any
saying,
better if I said technically the 39 episodes are actually 3 whole seasons?
No,
so
it
that's
wouldn't.
another thing.
That's 3
I-
whole arcs. Get the fuck out of my face.
No, he's actually kind of technically right because I did see, like, when I was looking at the DVD release, it was released in seasons, but like it was later. Also, here's a weird thing. Like, speaking of Evangelion comparisons, this did the rebuilds before Evangelion because the movie is a rebuild of this,
A retelling,
which is also
yes.
its own beginning, but its true ending.
Okay, so let's talk about before we
So-
get into that.
And supposedly it
whole
fills in
So-
plot holes, but
Let's
like,
talk about
Sex.
shoujo in the 90s.
There's a
Okay.
lot of that.
Yes, which in the show we include that.
I was
Let's talk-
referencing the song, but yes.
Let's talk about shoujo in the 90s. Okay, so this fits that exact same formula.
Yes.
Right. Thematically, we're adventurous. Plot wise, we're adventurous. But this is still a shoujo in the 90s. And this kind of fits pretty much square ass on with the storytelling and pacing of the first season of Sailor Moon. Right? Sailor Moon's first season is 40 episodes. And we have this whole story. She becomes a sailor. She goes through, finds her friends, and then has friend drama, and then saves a bunch of people to beat up the next enemy. And then at the end of the season, we get a bunch of crazy shit happens, and everyone dies, and we reset the universe. Magical Girl shit is fucking crazy, no matter what. And this is kind of that same vibe, right? So we have this whole plot, but then also we have to fill 40 episodes. So how do we do that? We introduce a bunch of characters in the first arc, and then we tell stories about them as independent side characters in the second through third arc. Right. So it's all
Okay,
relationship
that's fine.
drama and just character stuff. And that's the
Yes.
point of shoujo. Like, the fact that we have sword duels is cool, but if you notice, the sword duels are like, yeah,
It's
slice the rose, find
Yeah.
out the winner, drama. Yeah.
We not actually gonna cut you. We just gonna. Oh my god, this is
not gonna
fucking
cut you till the
Astro Boy.
last episode.
So, sorry. So yeah, no, definitely what you said. It embodies all the shoujo elements. Like I saw a lot of Cardcaptor Sakura in it. I saw a lot of, like you said, Sailor Moon. I saw a lot of Roses of Versailles. I saw a lot of
Do you know
just
about
different.
Versailles?
I know a lot about Roses of Versailles. Like, let's just, I didn't realize until I was an older gent that I grew up on mostly shoujo instead of shonen, and that might be why as an adult I fuck with slice of life so hard. But anywho, but no, like, it was interesting because this is another one where, like, I know this probably would have felt place in themes, but Utena struggles. Like, I mean, she doesn't struggle. But it's very interesting. Like in episode 1, the dude on the basketball team was like, "Yo, you know, why are you wearing that boy's uniform? Like, just go and be a full boy." She's like, "I'm not. I'm a prince. I'm a woman, and I like this outfit because it fits me." And like that, I feel like this was the okay, granted, it wasn't the first to do in the shoujo era because we've got the cousins in Sailor Moon, we've got the stuff in Roses of Versailles, we've got things in other shows too. But like, I feel like this was the one where like, because I have a friend who is part of the LGBTQ community. He said, growing up watching this show, this was the show to help him come to terms who he was and that being okay. So, like, I just felt like that was important to say since you brought up the shoujo era.
Absolutely.
And, like, so shout out to Utena for doing that for a lot of people. I know when I watched it, I was like, yo, hell yeah. I feel like I know some people nowadays who need to watch this and understand what the hell they got going on. But,
per my notes, as you'll see, the themes focusing on individuality and not conforming to societal expectations just because. We see that in episode 1 as you described. But the whole point is it's not about it. You know, Utena is doing whatever the fuck she wants to do.
yeah.
It's not about, you know, a very gender nonconformist. Like, it's not about this because I have to. It's this because I'm a motherfucking prince and I'm still a girl and you can suck it. And no, absolutely, that whole point, absolutely, Utena does that so well. Just focuses on we're gonna show you this is the possibilities of an anime character, and we're going to influence you, the sucker watching this in 1997, to have an opinion that is skewed this way, to be able to like be accepting.
Beautiful. I love it.
I do like how it's just meant to be just a single theme that the story tackles, and not just one of those, hey, do you get it? Do you get it?
Which is that's one of the challenges of the modern animation and presentation of media.
But because it doesn't do that so much, I feel like that message sticks out so much more.
Which is why
and resonates with people.
And Strange, you were talking before that Utena is such an inspiration to modern animation, like Steven Universe.
Yeah, while doing research, I think some of the creators actually referenced Utena as a inspiration, and there's like a couple of shots they used, you know, kind of like the motorcycle slide from, remind me, it's on the tip of my tongue. I know what it is. The motorcycle
Akira?
slide. Yes, Akira. Thank you. Gosh. Okay.
I just said shit.
No, I feel like
I
an
was
idiot.
like,
All right.
I was like, Akira got a motorcycle in it.
We saw a motorcycle slide on this one, but it was off to anyway.
Yeah. No.
So if it wasn't Akira, the next one was gonna be actually Evangelion. So I was like,
well, like Akira sets up the motorcycle slide, and that shows up a lot in modern animation. So it's the same thing with Steven Universe. There's like a shot of like Pearl doing something, and then Utena when she like jumps back and like rushes forward, and the sword comes towards the camera. They use that shot. But anyways, and I was like, oh, very interesting, very nice.
Maybe it's because I didn't really gel with Steven Universe, but I feel like the more stuff I go back and watch, the more I realize how nothing is truly original. Excuse me, but also how much Darling in the Franxx sucks ass. Like, because
that's why I was mad at the comparison earlier.
Yeah, so I said that for a reason because that was in my mind brain. So when the whole story of Utena being like, there was a prince who saved me, blah blah blah, that's literally almost word from word Darling in the Franxx. Like, what's her name? Beatrice? No, 02. That's literally 02's like whole thing. There was a picture book that told the story of this and that and blah blah blah. I'm like, yo, word for word, bar for bar, Darling in the Franxx took this from Utena. I'm watching this and I'm like,
did you know? The shadow puppets. Did you know?
Okay, gotcha. I was like, so I was just like so upset. I was like, so they ripped off Evangelion, which I didn't realize until I went back and rewatched Evangelion. That like how blatant, like because I knew it was inspired, but it's blatant. It is blatant. Even the white plug suits, even the red plug. Okay, sorry, this is not what this podcast is about.
This is about
but like
Revolutionary Girl Utena, and you hit me with the like,
and it just obsessed me so much that you literally copied all these awesome shows and didn't copy any of the good parts. Like I mean, you copied the cool aspects, but not the story. You're like, I'm just gonna take this and this and that. Oh, how do I mix it together? Fuck it. Like, and this,
Plan it.
Fuck them.
Plan it.
And then you were like, we didn't care because we were working on Bunny Girl. So we tried.
hey, you know what? As long as they did Bunny Girl right, that's all I care about.
But I'm just like, dang, you just hold so many fans. Anyway, like Utena definitely paved the way for a lot of different anime.
Let's talk about Utena some more, okay? We've gotten through a bunch of the list, whatever. Let's talk about the arcs. Student Council, the introduction to our main Student Council characters, their whole backstory. How did you feel about the Student Council characters?
They were like slightly forgettable, especially blue-haired girl or dude.
It was a dude.
Orange-haired
the piano playing one.
The more incest, yes.
The one with the stopwatch, yeah.
I'm not.
I love my sister.
I did go back and like look up some like YouTube videos of people who reviewed this show to see if I can get a better idea of things, to see if I can help form my thoughts into more cohesive things.
Yeah.
And I remember their descriptions of the characters better than the characters. Like one of them described blue-haired guy as Sailor Mercury, except a dude.
Facts.
And that's all I remember him as.
Facts.
And then the red-haired
guy.
I
hate it that he's so, forgettable. If he's Mercury, then Jury must be Jupiter. I'm sorry.
They're not one for one.
I know, but like I'm just going in terms of like rememberability.
Because the numbers don't line up.
Yeah.
There's 4 student council members and there's 5 Sailor Senshi.
There's technically 5.
There's a replacement. There's a replacement.
But she's
anyways,
Sailor Venus.
Well,
she is not Sailor Venus. Get the fuck out of my face.
So
funny. Just because the comparison works for one character doesn't mean the theme fits with all of them.
No, I'm just
her
saying.
hair is blonde doesn't mean she's fucking Batman. All right, get out of my face. But okay, which is fair enough. Kind of at this point, they're very mediocre, generic, bad guy team.
Yeah.
They don't need personalities. They need stereotypes.
They need to crack the world's shell to not kill the baby chicken.
I want to be mad at that kind of assessment, but you're not wrong. Because we have to tell stories of them that kind of make sense. So one's smart and is a twin, so he has a special relationship with a sister and loves somebody else. And the other one
loves a lot of people.
Is a fencer and loves her best friend who smashes her senpai, and it's a whole convoluted.
There's a chart that exists somewhere, I'm sure, of the relationships that everybody's had with everybody.
Look, like
it's
I said,
an extensive chart.
Miraculous Ladybug to shame. So
okay, all that shit.
All I'm saying is,
thank you, Sam.
Arc 1, we meet the big bad characters, and none of them win because we have 30 more episodes to get through.
Well, one of them win, but then he loses again.
Arc 2, it's the Black Rose Saga, where we get this kind of chapter black bullshit where we find out about
sucks.
Yeah, that specifically. And we get this whole, psychology thing and 100 dead students, but we only go through like 8 of them. Thank God.
This was definitely I would say the weakest one, but I was just like
It's the one that left the smallest impression on you.
It was
Yeah,
the
'cause
one
we had-
where the writers were like, well, how do we keep all the 4 or 5 of them fighting? Throw more characters in there.
Tournament
Throw more characters in there. Do it.
One who paid attention. I really like this. I really like this arc. Absolutely, what you said was 100% correct. What I really liked about this arc was that it introduced a couple new characters, and it was a path to lead you down more kind of mystery and intrigue about what the fuck is going on this campus.
we do.
And the biggest
Mhm.
reveal was Mikage, kind of the fucking professor that was there when everything burned down, has this character who is like he looks like the Rose Bride and the chairman,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have any answer on like what's going on. So when we do get an answer of what's going on, that it's just Himemiya portraying a boy to help the conspiracy go along, and that
Mhm.
everything that the professor was seeing was a fabrication. It's like, okay, that's how you make this arc worth the time we spent. Like, more mystery, more intrigue. And then
I agree.
we introduced the whole relationship with her brother and
Yeah.
Himemi.
Yeah, which is
Arc 3.
Arc 3.
Introduce
I'm
other-
here to sex everybody up while I sit on this car, bitch.
That was
What?
weird.
In that order.
Like, it don't matter
Did
who
you
it is,
choose
and it
Arc?
don't matter if you say yes.
If you a
Um,
boy, if you a girl, if you whatever, get in this car. We're gonna take you to place, and then you're gonna
Yeah.
duel later.
Otori, disclaimer:
Reloaded.
we here at Content Breaker do not agree with anything
No.
Otori stands for.
Do not ghost ride the coupe.
Yes. Do not,
But all I'm saying is,
do not do any of this. Like,
can you hear it?
Can you?
If you haven't completely given up,
Do you know?
you should hear it.
Can you hear it?
Let
that's
me
quite
show
funny.
you the end of the world, and then jump on the hood as sexy.
hey Siri,
Second
play
bonus.
Marvin Gaye. Like, that was
Welcome
That was
to
a while
sexy.
back.
Welcome to sexy shoujo shots. That's fan service, Kai. I want you to.
It's like,
understand.
all right, what are we gonna do today?
That's a
I want
form
to
of
draw a
fan service.
car. Yeah, it's like I want to draw a car. Okay, what does that have to do with the plot? Nothing. I just want to draw a bunch of cars, please.
Speaking of plot, that's the one thing that this really focuses on is random equipment. Like, we don't have any much big action scenes. We don't have any big crazy set piece. We have architecture. We have like random mechanical things like the planetarium, the car, the desks, whatever's going on. There's a lot of animation and artistic detail placed in these scenes because they are so straightforward, right? Which is one of the things that really sticks out as well done in this show.
And as a side note, I feel like once the episode came out and the creator saw how that car was animated, I think that's where he figured out how he wanted to end the movie.
yeah,
Pretty much.
So,
I
The
think
movie is like-
we can talk about the movie after we talk
Yeah.
about the main plot. Let's save the movie. It's
I
a bit
just
of a
had to
ride.
get that out there while it was still on topic.
Yeah. No.
The cars don't go anywhere. Hold on. All right, so Otori Saga, just kind of cars and dude and the same old bullshit. I feel it. All right, the Apocalypse Saga, the end of the show. We find out who
Fitting
the
name.
end. We find out who the end of the world is. We find out who this choir's been singing about every single episode. I missed the transformation scene. Let's talk about that for 36 seconds. So, of course, it's a magical girl anime. It has to have a transformation scene, except this show focuses on the tower climb to the arena.
Mhm.
And it does it in 2 whole scenes. And I say 2 whole scenes because there's like a third when she's not the main duelist, which I
Yeah.
really liked. How did y'all feel about the transformation scenes of Utena and it not just being the and I'm naked and I'm putting on my boots and pom pom and I'm putting on my hair thing and then pose?
Get that nail polish and then the gloves.
I like that it was different than the standard. Honestly, it felt like it was true to the like sense of Utena being her own person. That like
Yes.
even like breaking the fourth wall of like I'm not gonna do the traditional magic girl transformation because I'm not the traditional magic girl. So
I need to
fucked
have a
with it.
theatrical choir as I climb stairs. That is my magical girl transformation. You can't
I was
stop
so
me.
mad it wasn't Cruel Angel Thesis though. I was like, come on, just play it.
It was damn near it though, man. A rock
It was
and
a vibe.
roll with choir to make it as epic as possible
Dun,
for,
dun, 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 dun.
for them being out of key. That's the one thing that really killed me was the choir. It was just like they
Yeah.
showed up in the studio one day, haggard as fuck, and we're like, we're singing. Me.
It's like, all right, we gotta do this in one take. Wait a minute. We get all right and begin.
You just handed us the sheets.
But speaking of that, I love the fact that every single duel had a different song with lyrics to it. That was a
That was
standout
fire.
feature,
It was fine.
even though I didn't get a lick of it. But it was all different. But no, I really enjoyed that, and of the point earlier, I really enjoyed that when Utena was not the duelist engaged to the Rose Bride, how there was no kind of transformation scene. There was no special music as she climbed the tower. It was just her climbing the tower, and that's it. She was going to achieve a goal
I mess with that.
that we saw
Right.
like for an episode. But hey, it was different.
Yeah.
All right, last arc, Apocalypse. We get the whole reveal of who the end of the world is. We get
Yeah.
the whole reveal of who Utena's prince actually is, which is crazy, right? She's searching for this prince, and we find out it's the same dude that's fucking around. It's the chairman. We also find out about Antony. We find out about Mimimia, and her backstory and what she's all doing with her brother and
Oh, God.
Yeah.
all of because we get hints beforehand, but we see the culmination of it where Utena finds out, and there is a challenge to it.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that whole thing was like very like much okay. Like like I've seen some shit throughout this. I thought I was prepared for whatever. But-
And you thought it was weird when Leafa had a crush on her brother.
I mean, that's still weird. But like,
Cousin.
Compared to this.
the weird factor's still there, but I think it's just like I've already been put through the ringer. Honestly, nothing
Yeah, I'm just
surprises
like-
me anymore.
and then you hit me with the "we been all the time." I
All
was
I'm
the one
saying-
she.
You weren't paying attention because
No,
we
I
been
mean-
seeing that.
I mean, I know we've been seeing that, but like the fact that it was just like before, I kind of was like, it was like forced. Not that it made it better at all, but knowing that Anthony was like, "Nah, I wanted this," and I'm like,
I no, but yes, but no.
I mean, it's like not like she did, but like she did at one point, like when she closed the door,
Listen,
which still made no sense. But like,
okay, it's the ending of the show. Let's hash this shit out. All right, so the
Good.
whole backstory between them fuckers is
They fucking.
at some point there was this magical prince who saves all of the girls and makes them princesses.
yes,
Got us into this predicament with Utena.
Symbolism, yay!
No, whole ass magical prince. That's where the fuck we are.
yes, tuxedo mask.
I love that he comes down like motherfucking 6 mass and he's hungry kisses. And, all right, anyways, but But we find out what happens, right?
Yes.
So he's beat up for some reason. All of the villagers are like outside the barn and are like,
Russian.
Prince, come out and fight, save our people.
Yeah.
And then his sister like, all right, you sit the fuck down and I'll go tell him what's what. So she leaves the barn.
Not before she gets naked.
She doesn't get naked.
Yes, she does.
In the motherfucking barn, she does not get naked. She's wearing that little red dress because she's a fucking kid.
But she takes it off to, like, coerce him.
Oh my God.
No, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the backstory.
Yes.
The backstory. The
Like,
prince.
back when the
her
wooden
brother-
shed,
Yes.
Zog, Caleb, Kelz, no. Strange. Am I making this up? Like, did that not
Yeah.
happen?
I don't
I
remember
don't
that part.
fucking-
You are
specifically.
misconnecting scenes because we see that scene later.
Yeah, I say I think that's later.
Anyways,
Has to
the
be.
whole hearted
But
backstory.
he's in the white suit and got the short hair, but okay.
Whole backstory. We'll look this shit up after. Whole backstory. She's like, all
We'll
right,
find a wiki that tells us.
I'm gonna keep y'all from making my brother go kill himself trying to be the special prince.
Yes, I'm going to close the door to the world. so
I
you don't have
walk
to deal with
out,
it.
close the door, tell him he's mine now. Y'all can go suck it. And then the townspeople murder her.
Yes, she gets what happened to that Digimon that Paimon stabbed.
It's
The first season. It was like Mom was a fool. She gets, but no, she gets ran through a lot. Like,
Yeah, that's her whole vibe. Is then she becomes the witch because that's what the people think of her.
yeah,
And then that breaks the prince, who then becomes the end of the world. Same person, different personalities, gives up on the innocent, like passionate, chivalrous side of himself, and then goes on to be the one to try to, I don't know, reach eternity.
yes.
And that's how
Because-
we get where we are.
So, how I took that, like what I was saying earlier. I felt like it was a metaphor, symbolism. Like he was supposed to be, like, you know, the savior of the world, and then he couldn't handle all the burdens because it's a lot, and I'm mad at him for that. So,
I think
He
there
was
were some
like,
people mad at him for it.
I mean, yes, I mean, like, you know, anyway. So he couldn't do it. So his sister, who was in love with him, was like, yo, I don't want to see you, like, go through this. So let me, like, take that sacrifice for you. And that's where I felt like it was a symbolism akin to, like, Christianity is what they were trying to do.
The
'Cause, like-
only issue is there are slim little parallels to Christianity, because his sister takes the sacrifice and the prince then fails. Other than the fact that sacrifice takes place, like a quote unquote martyr exists, like the rest of the story doesn't track.
Okay.
But I get it. The whole like at the root level a sacrifice for something you care about.
if basically
a martyr.
if
Yes.
if Jesus was like, I'm tired, Peter, go outside, tell them, and then Peter gets murdered, and he's like,
And
all
then
right,
Peter
well now,
becomes the Messiah. Yeah.
and then
yeah, yeah.
now it's then it's like Jesus is like, okay, I'm just gonna murder the world now. 'Cause
Maybe the
Jesus
true
murdered-
connection was
Jesus
when she
becomes
turned into a
Lucifer.
car in the movie. Maybe that's the true connection to Christianity.
Oh my god!
And if you pay enough of your tithes,
that-
we can get a Beamer and Joel Osteen.
I'm just so mad I didn't have time to watch this fucking movie. Anyways,
It's
the end of the show was crazy, you know.
Yes. So,
Whatever. And then, you know, Utena becomes the prince after a very shoujo struggle,
Mhm.
right? We wind up at the end of the season. Things aren't going to plan, but our singular magical girl claws and inches her way towards the goal. Fucking silver crystal power. Boom, reset the universe. Except we come back in Utena, and Utena no longer exists. But we find out why.
Because she had to go be in the movie. Oh,
Okay, she had to go be in whatever the fuck movie comes after this. The Adolescence of Utena, whatever.
But
Wrap it up, boys.
It's
Yeah,
because
keep going.
we find out she's not there. From my interpretation, is because Antony has been freed. So Utena is in the world for Antony to go find. So that's what Antony goes to go do with her freedom. Can I say her hair down was always the vibe? I'm glad. That was also like symbolism for her finally being able to let her hair down. I feel like that's like very like face value. Her hair was up the whole time. Now it's down. Now she's free. Moana. Away.
Because we see in the few times we see her hair down is with Utena in bed.
Yes, in bed.
Chatting
I'm
it
so
up.
sorry. I'm immature.
And then fucking her brother. I mean, whatever, man. Like, yeah. The only times we see her hair down is talking with her girlfriend, and then yeah. So yeah, you're right. You're spot on.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Very, very much of a very much a 90s ending to an anime, I would say.
Very
Like
much a
the-
Gynax ending for a non-Gynax.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
Our protagonist just fucking vanishes.
Yeah. Hope you weren't attached to that character at all. You spent 39 episodes watching. Just...
No, I mean, I kind of
it really wasn't.
Yeah. Well,
kinda-
that's because
Now go watch the rebuild.
no, that's because the main character was Antony the whole time. It wasn't Utena. Duh.
Wow.
I mean, either way, my statement still stands.
I kind of love this ending
Same.
because we go through a bunch of weird, crazy bullshit, and the
Just
whole
yeah.
point, the entire point, is that Utena gets to be a prince, and by episode 39, she gets to be a prince,
She does, yeah.
and then she vanishes.
Like
Congrats.
a true
Here's
G.
your dream. Now get the fuck out.
Yes,
Now go be a
if
car.
only it
Nope,
were so
we are
easy.
already done with you.
Away,
All right.
away.
Tell me
So-
about the movie and let's.
All
wrap
right.
it up.
So, movie's crazy, right? Turns out. Okay. Turns out red hair guy, you know how he just disappeared in the show? Well, apparently
No.
he was dead the whole time. So
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean the student council president was?
Yes.
Yeah, Kiryu.
That's why
yeah.
the sister just comes in, I'm taking his place. Well, it turns out he
Oh.
was just
Oh, he just died.
he's just dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he was just always dead.
He
Always
he
dead.
dueled Utena and then died, or like been
Yep.
dead forever.
He had been dead.
Like he was dead before any of this happened.
Yeah.
Remember I was talking about necrophilia. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Magic. But then it gets even worse. Well, it gets not even worse. It gets
Oh,
interesting.
And
gets
before that, actually,
gets-
apparently
he was alive and everything was
his-
kosher.
his father took him to a cabbage patch when he was younger.
Oh God, yeah. Oh,
Relations with the father.
forced.
I wasn't gonna talk about that.
No,
I
we
was
have
gonna
to talk
talk-
about the movie's crazy. And the-
I was gonna talk about how two things. First thing is Utena's like style in the movie is a lot more like elegant. I feel like because her hair flows a lot more, and it's kind of cool. It's
Well,
like
that's
pinker
what happens
too.
when you get that movie budget.
Yeah.
What's
but-
it? Dio and drugs.
Dios.
Randall?
Dios. Dios, drugs, his sister. That was
Yeah.
Essentially, all
Like-
the
Go ahead.
yeah, essentially all the not okay things that they touched on in the show. Jack it up to like
Mhm.
11.
So Dios, as in like the good prince, and not like end of the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, the weird thing is, I might be misreading this from the movie, but from what I understand, his sister was okay with it too. Like she
Yes.
knew and just went along with it.
She was fine with it.
All right, so that's one point I want to talk about. Is way back, right at the very beginning of this shit, where she becomes the Rose Bride by walking out of the barn and being like, "All right, townsfolk, that's my brother," and then gets skewered. All right, her choice at that point in time, and that's critical to remember, singularly at that point in time, was to go out and face the townfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from that point forward that happens to her is not okay, and consent is questionable.
Yes,
Yes.
very much so.
If existent.
Mhm.
Bingo.
Yes.
And then somewhere, all the regular plot stuff happens in between all that, and then
And they
at the
turn
very
into
end,
cars.
Well,
And-
no,
no,
It's a
That was my
Utena.
part. Strange. I
Oh,
waited
sorry.
for time to say it. So, two things. Also, homegirl gets like cuts off all her hair at some point and be like, you know that part
Who's
of
home, bro?
Utena.
Utena.
Okay.
She like shaves off all her hair, rocks this cool bowl cut, and then kind of becomes an aggressor towards Anthony, which is like really weird because we didn't get that like during the series, but like that's what she is in the movie, because the movie is literally like a rebuild, because like you don't need to watch the original series for the movie, but the movie is the true ending to the series.
Side note, want to confirm they're in love.
Sure.
Yes.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
No.
Confirmed
It is,
by director
it is
Kunohiko
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Ikarahara.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
basically
Apart.
what happens at the end of the movie is basically the confirmation. So,
Because that's how they turn into the car, because they're in love.
one turns in the car, the other drives.
one turns into the car.
And then that part when it's like stripped, the car like stuff is stripped, and you see them like being the frame of the car like locked in together naked.
Naked, yeah.
That was so weird, bro.
Pass through the door of lights, just boom.
Yeah, with
naked
all
people.
their homies on the opposite of they're in an actual car, I believe. Like that car might be made of somebody else, but I think that's a real car. On the right,
Hey,
I don't know.
Utena's not the only person who turned into a car. Remember?
No, it was
Oh yeah.
it was other chick who did
Oh
it.
yeah, that's other chick. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
This is that dumbass question that gay couples get asked. Well, which one of you is the man and which one of you is the woman? Which one of you is the car and which one of you is the driver?
Yes, like, and sad part is Utena will always be the car, but Anthony is the driver. So they packed a lot in a hour 30. Because I actually sat there and I watched the whole thing. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, give me 20 more minutes. I still can't breathe. I ain't got nothing else to do. So
Shit,
I
I'm
will-
mad. Go ahead.
I
go ahead.
will say, if you haven't watched the series, you're going to be confused on a lot of things that happen in the movie.
but not
because
really.
They just go by super quick. But,
But-
at the same time, the movie helped explain some things that I was
It did.
confused
Like,
by.
honestly, if you don't watch the series, I recommend watching the series. It's like Evangelion. I recommend you gotta watch both. Personally, to get the full experience, you gotta watch both. But if the movie is your only experience, it's still a thing.
It's
Like,
equally
you
as
still
weird as the rest of the show.
Like, the movie is
Girl
standalone.
straight
does
up
a
turned
good-
into a car. I think that answers the question.
But honestly, if you don't think about it too much, you're like, okay. Like, it's like, honestly, if you think about Evangelion too much, no matter how somebody explains it, it makes no sense. You have to have a certain level of, all right, sure, what the fuck? Like, when you go into, like, you have to,
Okay.
I feel like that's anime in general, though. You have
But-
to have a,
Yeah, suspension
this-
of disbelief.
This level of anime, this kind of
Yes.
crazy bullshit. Evangelion, Utena, you
Gurren
gotta come
Lagann.
in. Yeah, you gotta come in and just go, whatever the fuck is gonna come at me, I just gotta let it wash over
Yes.
and experience. I don't gotta have an explanation right now. It's not gonna happen, and I gotta be okay with that. I just have to
Coolly.
experience it. Like, yes, and that's why media like this is so great. But yes,
That's sometimes my fault with some shonen anime. They try and explain the power system so much. It's like let's do Naruto for instance. They explain chakra so well that they bone themselves. Because later in Shippuden, when stuff that don't make sense happen, we have a clear basis. Unlike Hunter x Hunter, when they explain Nin like a little bit, and like you can basically do whatever the fuck you want. So later in Hunter x Hunter, when things are happening, you're like, okay, we still got that little gray area of do whatever the fuck you want. But Naruto's like, nah, he should be out of chakra. That's the 8th tail beast bomb he had spammed. Sasuke should be dead because his eyes have been used. Guy should be dead because the 8th gates. They just. Oh my god! I've just realized my problem with Shonen. Okay, good podcast. Good podcast.
A big problem with the power scaling Shonen has is that eventually you always run into the every time you try to up the last arc, you always run into this thing of power levels are bullshit.
Unless it's Dragon Ball Z, because I just don't understand, man. It's like
that's because they gave up on the power scaling,
and that's what I love about shoujo. Power scaling is the conviction of your beliefs. Because Utena wanted to be a motherfucking prince and nothing else. And that only
strongest character in anime.
And this only wavered the one time it wavered. And then she was like, I'm gonna be the motherfucking prince. And then it wavered again later. But yeah, like the whole point about the power scaling, conviction of your beliefs to want to smash your woman.
And that's why I mess with shoujo so hard. Like Sailor Moon, perfect example. Because literally, the Outer Senshi could basically destroy the universe. Who gonna stop him? Saturn and Pluto right there. Soloing your whole verse.
Who's the one with the scythe?
Saturn.
Yeah.
Pluto, wait.
Yeah,
that
one could do it single-handedly.
Yeah, Saturn is the scythe, Pluto is time. So literally, those two soloing your verse. And Uranus... I forgot what Uranus could do, but I don't care. As long as you got Saturn and Pluto there. I mean, Usagi can literally do it herself, but like she busy.
She gets to do it because she's the chosen one. The other two get to do it because they got the weapons that are that OP.
Yes, but no, I agree with you.
But they only come in season 3 and season 4. That's the master plan, though.
Kelz, did you see that meme that I sent you about like character something in Shonen? Oh well, character coughs and they'll slice of life.
Yes,
yeah, I'm just like, yeah.
What a great meme. All right, gentlemen, wrapping up Utena because we've talked ad nauseum about this.
Solid B. I enjoyed it. Sorry,
and that's in the royal B. That's in the royal B. Yeah. All right, gentlemen, how did y'all other feel about it?
I liked it. If I had to recommend one way to experience this over the other, I'd say do the movie.
Sure, you're gonna say be high. I was like, don't do that.
You do you, but it's good. It's some good shit, and I do like how this one is a classic. So you can actually see the inspiration many shows today have from this. And when you look at pictures of cons, you now know who some of these characters are.
Facts.
People will not stop cosplaying them.
Facts. I've seen so many people be Anthony, and now I'm like, why? Why? Are you okay?
Because it's one of the few characters of color that exists.
But they're white.
Anthony?
No, I mean the people cosplaying her are white.
What?
Okay.
Do you power?
I see a lot of black women actually cosplaying Utena though. So like,
power to the fandom. The fandom is great. Love the ability to. I love the fact that people are taking the whole point of the show at heart and doing whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah.
Live your life.
Facts.
Wow.
If
what a message.
You like that character, dress as them, do whatever you want.
Be them.
That's the point.
Tattoo them on your body. I recommend tattoos.
I liked it. It was. Sorry, I liked it. It was. What are you trying?
No. Say words, my
Okay,
man. Say
all
words.
right. No, I liked it. It was a very interesting ride, very kind of nostalgic for the style. I would say don't kill yourself watching it. If I had to suggest it, okay, don't kill yourself watching it. Just like watch
Your
it
advice
casually.
was just don't kill yourself for a second. I was like,
No, listen to the
Right?
words I'm saying. Let me finish. What I'm trying to say is just don't exhaust yourself trying to watch it, trying to understand. Just go along for the ride and watch the movie. Maybe it'll answer some things, but the movie's very messed up. Trigger warning, just letting you know.
It's
The
like
whole
any
show is
anime
messed
movie,
up.
expected to be even worse than the show.
Yes.
I think it was super important, and I think this show, I'm glad it exists. And hopefully there will come a time where people will be like, oh, this show was important. Like, meaning that people become familiar with the themes and stuff in the show. Thus, it doesn't have to be such like a gym. It can be seen as more of like the norm later, if that makes sense. Kind of like how no one's like, oh, like Will Smith is black. Kind of like, that.
I like the
You
ideal.
lost me on that. But
I know I did.
I like the ideal. I don't think it can happen just because of the content.
Yeah.
Like the plot and how
Yeah.
and the narratives and relationship drama that it does explore is something that you cannot take to a general audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll never be like, Oh.
with all the different themes and everything that it has, I think a general audience might. Well, one, flame wars all over the fucking place. Two, the confusion of the different messages and everything. I feel like most people would like, in a general audience sense, misconstrued half of what it's saying and just be like, oh, it's saying all these bad things are okay. Just because they're in this show.
Yeah.
Why? Because I've seen people do that.
Oh, yeah, of
And
course.
they're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Of course.
But yes, great show. Cornerstone of shoujo animation. Tragic that it covers such deep topics as it does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of the broad reception.
I am very happy it does tackle those, and I'm hoping for more shows that do stuff like that. But I know the audience for that. I know it's not going to be a general thing.
But, of course, you can catch more shows like this here on Content Breaker.
And we are for a general audience.
Sometimes.
Not for children.
Not for children, yes.
But, of course, you
Children
can catch us not for children here on Content Breaker. You can catch us on all your podcatchers that are not for children here on all your podcatchers. Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Podcast, not for children. Content Breaker. Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Content Breaker, not for children. Gentlemen, y'all have stuff too, not for children?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
Static Dreads with a Z.
Yeah, you
Cool
fucked me up,
on
you said
Twitter. We have Strangely Entertaining on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, streaming on Twitch.
Well, hasn't happened yet.
Not for children. Actually, he might be. I don't know.
It depends
he is
on what the
very
stream is.
family friendly. Generally, he's the only one of us who doesn't consume liquor or curse, which I'm blown away at. I'm proud of his conviction.
I've heard
But
some
still,
words.
not for children. And of course, you can catch Zog himself, not for children, all right here on Content Breaker. Next week, what do we have?
Oh, next week we're talking about Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beasts. A little more child friendly. Still not for children.
Purple.
Oh.
All here on Content